America. Welcome back to Suds and Bees. In today's video, I will be taking you on my candle testing journey. The video will have a minimal editing to give you the real experience in this test. So come on, let's get testing. Today I will be testing some of the new candle wax that I ordered from Lone Star. I also wanted to test how these jars will work as candles. I found these jars at Dollar Tree. They are 4-ounce mason jars. Some of them have the little salt and pepper lids. I was able to find some with the flat lid, so you can just close up the candle, which I think it would look super cute. My concern is the shape of the jar, and will the candle make the jar black? So I want the candle to burn nice and clean, just so it looks cute throughout the whole experience. So one of the tests will be with these jars. I will be testing them with CD wicks, which are all cotton flat braided wicks, so they're natural. I will be testing them with CD8, which is a 6-inch long wick, and CD2, which is a 3-inch long wick. CD2 are usually for the little votive candles, so I'm not sure how it's going to work with the wax, if it's going to leave a puddle or will it burn evenly because of the size of the jar. So the reason I chose to test with this one is because the circumference of this jar is only 1.5 inch. So I'm a bit concerned adding a bigger, thicker wick. But I'm also wondering how it would work with the CD8. So I will be creating I will be making 2 candles, one with one wick and the other one with the other. As for the wax, I just ordered these 2 waxes from Lone Star Candle Supply. So here we have IGI 6006 Parasoy Blend, which is a blend of paraffin and soy wax. And this wax has the melting point of 133 degrees. The pouring temperature, we have to pour it at 170 degrees, and the fragrance recommended is 8 to 10%. I will be using 70% of this wax and blending it with this wax. This is GW464 enhanced soy. This 464 is 100% soy wax. However, it does have additives that are FDA approved. The additives enable the soy to be poured at a hotter temperature, reducing the frosting and increasing the oil load, meaning that the additives allow for the candle to have a good cold and hot throw. Having a good cold throw means that when you walk up to the candle when it's not lit, you can smell it and you can smell the fragrance. And the hot throw means that when the candle is lit, you can smell the fragrance throughout the room. So those are the things that I will be testing. For fragrance, I bought a fragrance from Comfort Candle Company, which is here in Texas, in Fredericksburg, which is about an hour away from where I live. And I will be using the Blue Bonnet smell. If you're not familiar with blue bonnets, they're like a purple flower, and it's the state flower in Texas. Just look it up, it's really pretty. Or I'll put a picture on the screen. So it has like a floral smell. It's supposed to mimic the smell of when you walk into a field of blue bonnets. So I've bought several blue bonnet fragrances, and I have to say they all smell pretty different. They're all floral, but they all smell pretty different. So I will be adding the fragrance at 8%. I've been watching a lot of videos on both these waxes, and everybody recommends adding it at 8%. what many candle makers do to keep that hot throw stable is they mix the waxes. So I will be using 70% of the 6006 and 30% of the 464. So let me go ahead and measure, and then we'll melt. So let's get started. The 606 comes in a slab, which I'm not really happy about because it just creates more work to cut it. So what I'll be cutting it with is going to be one of my melt and pour soap cutters. Hey everyone, sorry I had to switch the camera around because the position it was in originally just was not working out for me. It was so uncomfortable. Anyway, so now you have a view of the side, which I think is much better for you. Okay, so measure that. Now we're going to measure our fragrance. Anyway, we are where we are. Okay, so before I melt the wax, I do want to prep the containers. We're going to be putting on the wicks. The wicks, I use a glue gun. I got this at the dollar store. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the bottom of the wick. And put that on the middle of the container. A little bit of a close-up. So glue the wicks. And I want to get this done first because it is really cold in Texas right now. So it's not really a great day to be making candles. And so what I'm doing here is I'm just using a wooden skewer, and I am just poking it so the wick is in the middle of the container. No, it doesn't really look like it, but it really is. It's the middle of the container. So that was our CD2. Now we will be gluing the CD8. Now this is technically meant for a bigger circumference. I use these on those 4-ounce tin cans that you see like at Trader Joe's. So they are a bit wider, have a wider mouth. So that's why I don't know how it's going to work on this one. But this one I feel like it's too small, and I don't know if there's anything else in between. I haven't really looked, and I just don't have anything in between. Okay, so we've set the candles. Now if you notice, with this guy, he's really short. So we're going to be holding the wick just by putting a piece of tape right there. Okay, let me go ahead and put this wax in a double boiler. Never put it in the microwave because, especially because this one has a mixture of paraffin, so it's going to take a lot longer. You don't want it to explode. So we'll be back. Okay, so I melted the wax. I melted it until it hit about 202 degrees. So we are still at, I think it's it. That gives me enough time to heat up these guys. Now the way I like to heat up these guys is with a hot gun. And I just heat them up a little bit just so the wax will stick to the jar. You kind of want everything at a similar temperature. And I want to work fast because I want to make sure. Let me hit these up. I want to work fast because I want to make sure that I pour everything at the right temperature. So for, oh wow, I almost grabbed it. Remember people, don't grab the hot containers. Okay. So for this guy, the way I'm going to make him stand up straight is by just putting a piece of tape, making sure it stays. If he doesn't stay after I pour the wax, I'll put another piece of tape on the other side. For the longer one, I have a wick holder that I use for my candles, and it goes like so. So let's see where we are at. We're at 192. We want to pour the fragrance between 180 and 185. So yeah, one of the things I have learned, like I said earlier, is heat up your oils. Don't take your oils. See what I mean? I make so much soap. I'm saying oils. Heat up your wax to about 200, 210 degrees. Don't remove it from the heat once the wax has melted because it may not be hot enough. And this way it gives you time just to, it's better to sit around and wait for the temperature to drop than to be chasing it and having to reheat the wax to make sure that you raise the temperature again because it dropped too quickly. Okay, we're at 183, so I'm going to go ahead and pour my fragrance. Now, when making candles, you do want to stir for a little while to make sure the oils get incorporated with the wax. Now, we do want to pour at 170. So we are at 174. So if you notice, what I'm doing is I'm just keeping my thermometer pointing while I'm stirring the wax. So just stir, stir, stir. Until we reach 170. So while we stir that, heat up these guys. I think it's a lot better to make candles when it's a warmer day. Okay, we are at 170. I have to say I'm pretty happy that we are reaching all the right temperatures to make sure we test these containers, the wax, and the wicks. Okay. So just pour, pour, pour straight. Until we hit the little indentation of the jar. You don't want to come back and pour because I don't know if this will create layers or not. But sometimes they create little layers, and aesthetically I don't really like the way it looks. Okay. And that was Not perfect. Still not full all the way. But I'm going to leave it this way. I'm not going to keep going. So I will let these sit for 2 weeks. I will label them with the wick and the temperature that we poured at and the double layer situation here. And I'll come back, take a quick snapshot before I light them. And then I will come back again after they've been burning for a week or so to make sure that we don't get any smoke, the black smoke that some candles get, any puddles, or they don't burn uneven. So I'll have a report in about 3 weeks. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye. Hi everyone. So it's been about, I want to say 3 hours since I've made the candles. Went to a Valentine party at the church. Ate a whole bunch of pasta that I didn't have to eat. It was super fun. But if you can see, there's some holes at the top. And I'm not sure why that happened. We poured at the right temperature. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just melt the top with my heat gun. So I've fixed the top. I've labeled the jars. They'll be okay to burn on February 25th. I put the wick number and I put the information on when we added the fragrance oil and when we poured, and this one we had to pour twice. So in 2 weeks I'll go ahead and light them and let you guys know what happens. See you soon. I'm burning the candle with the CD2 wick, which is usually used for votive candles. So far it's doing okay. It is creating a little black spot there, which I'm not happy about. And there seems to be a little bit of a puddle. So this may be too small for this container. And it was probably not put right in the center, which is why it's burning the container. Okay, here we have the candle with the CD8 wick. I kind of like the fire on this one a little bit more. It's a little more prominent. I don't see any burning. And let's bring the candle down. And it's burning, the wax is burning evenly, which is nice. I don't see any black part around the container. This wick was centered perfectly. Okay, so we'll keep watching it and see what happens. I do have 2 other ones burning that I poured at different temperatures. Okay, so here we have a candle with the CD8 wick. This is the one that I added fragrance oil at 183 degrees. It really has a nice hot throw. I can smell it throughout the kitchen. And I poured it at 170 degrees. So we have the CD8 wick, cotton wick. It has a nice flame. There is no dark spots on the container. This has been burning for about an hour. So we'll let it burn for another 2 to 3 hours, and I'll go ahead and videotape. But so far I'm really happy with adding the fragrance oils in the 180s and pouring at 170 and using the CD8 wick on these little containers. And I really love these containers. You can get them at the dollar store. Okay, see you soon. Okay, it's been about, I want to say about 5 hours. Here we have the candle with the CD2 wick. As you can see, it hasn't burnt down too much. So I'm starting to like the CD2 wick better. I think it's a better choice for this candle. That way your candle lasts a little bit longer. Let's go see the CD8. Okay, here we have the CD8 candle. If you can see, it has burned down about halfway. I like the way this wick provides a bigger flame, but I can kind of smell the wick a little bit more on this one. The hot throw, I think they're about the same. I think the key is to put the fragrance in at the 180, 185 mark and then pour at 170 degrees. I think that's what's going to make the difference. I'm still not sure which wick I would like to use. This one's making this part a little bit black, but that's to be expected. I mean, it's a huge fire in there. So yeah, which one would I use? I think I probably stick to CD2. I'm gonna go ahead and buy a CD5, which is in between both of these two wicks. So we'll do another test then. But for now, I think I would do the CD2. It provides a higher aroma. I do have one in the bathroom that has been burning the same time. And it is throwing a nice hot throw. The Blue Bonnets fragrance that I used 8%. I would think I would probably use 9 to 10% next time because it is a very subtle smell. So there we go. Hour 11. CD8. Almost gone. All black. That's not good. The fire's too high. You see all this stain right here? All the black. There's not enough oxygen for this big flame. CD2. It's not, I wouldn't say it's burning evenly. You can see parts of it stuck in the wall. That's going to be wasted wax. But look at, we haven't used that much. Only a quarter of it. 11 hours. Hot throw is pretty good. Hot throw is pretty good. You don't smell the wick. All that big smoky smell. I think CD2 is it. We'll see when it finishes. Look at all that black. Again, because there's not enough oxygen going into here. The bottle's too narrow. CD8. Okay. A lot of smoke when I turned off the wick. Okay, so we're finalizing the test of the 30% 464 and 70% 6006 wax with two different size wicks and poured at different temperatures. So here we have the CD8 wick poured at a colder temperature and the CD8 wick poured We fragranced it at 183 degrees and poured it at 170. As you can see, the flame was a little bit too strong and it just made the whole container black. So that's not something that we want if we're going to be selling or gifting these candles or using it ourselves. It looks gross. Now here, the fire was nice in the beginning for the CD8, but then the whole grossness just started happening, and I could smell the cotton a little bit stronger on the CD8 that was overpowering the scent. So we are not going to be using the CD8 with these containers. Here we have the CD2. This is the CD2 that was poured at a cooler temperature and fragranced at a cooler temperature. It's currently not burning. I turned it off last night because it was out in the open and I was going to go to sleep. This one has been burning overnight. I want to say we are about 48 hours into burning this candle. And as you can see, it still has about 30% left. That's a really long time to burn the candle. The CD2 is the wick that we're using for this one. Just a little, a few little drops there fell from the candle, but that's to be expected. This one was pretty clean. This one was the one we didn't center correctly. So I think it was centered at the bottom, but it probably just misaligned up here somewhere, which is why it caused that little burn there. This one was fragranced at 183 and poured at 170. I do get a good hot throw from it. I added 8% fragrance. I think, again, like I said previously, I will be adding 9 to 10% more of this particular fragrance because the Blue Bonnet was a little too subtle for me. This one that was poured at a colder temperature had a more subtle hot throw than the one with the hotter temperature, but it does have a good cold throw. This one had a good cold throw as well. So in conclusion, okay, so moving forward when using this small mason jars and using these two wax combinations, I would recommend using the CD2 candle. I recommend using the CD2 wick for this specific jar, fragrancing it at 183 to 185 and pouring it between 170 and 175. And I think that that's the best result for this combination in this jar. So there we have it. The CD8, terrible, nice, strong lighting, but just turned out gross and smelling the scent of too much cotton. CD2, of the two CD2s, the winner's the one that we fragranced. The winner's the one that we fragranced and poured at a hotter temperature using the CD2 wick on the small container and the wax combination. Okay, thanks for watching.